Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. Simply put, Louisville is heading in the wrong direction. After going 8-5 in 2019, Scott Satterfield's first year with the program, the Cardinals took a major step back in a year where many thought they would take a major step forward by going 4-7 in 2020, including a 1-4 start. The Cardinals now lose their leading rusher in Jackson Hawkins. They lose their top two wide receivers in Tutu, Atwell, and Fitzpatrick. They lose 4 coaches from their staff from last year, and Scott Satterfield's in a bit of hot water with the program and the fan base after flirting a little bit with that South Carolina opening this last offseason. Needless to say, this is a big year for Scott Satterfield. This is a big year 3 for Satterfield and the Cardinals. So again, guys, before we get started, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, hit that notification button so you don't miss out on any of our predictions that we have coming your way this season. And as always, make sure to check out everything down in the description where we have exclusive content for you, including our brand new expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. You can gain access to some of the best college football spread picks in the entire country for one of the lowest prices in the entire country over on our site, as well as now, for our 5-year anniversary here at the channel, gain access to our NFL expert picks. All of that can be found on our website, thegridironexpert.com, and I promise you do not want to miss out on that. So we take a look at Louisville, guys. We take a look at Scott Satterfield and the Cardinals. What do they have coming in 2021? Can they get to the postseason? Because if you're a Cardinals fan, that's what you need. Last year was such a disappointment. You just need to get back to the postseason. And it starts on offense. He's an offensive-minded coach. What do they have this year? Well, the good news is, while they lose Hawkins and Atwell and Fitzpatrick, they return their quarterback in Micale Cunningham. Threw for over 2,100 yards, 20 touchdowns last year, but did throw 12 interceptions. The one good thing about Cunningham, though, is that he is a dual-threat QB, had over 600 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns in 2020. So the biggest thing for Cunningham is taking better care of the football and just being more consistent. That's what they need from their quarterback, and I think that's something they can get in 2021. When you look at the rest of the offense, Hassan Hall is back at running back. He's going to kind of take over that role that Jackson Hawkins is leaving. He took a bit of a step back last year too, only over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. But I do believe he improves greatly now as the lead back. They have one of the better tight ends in the conference now in Marshawn Ford, 309 yards and 6 touchdowns last year. This is an offense that, again, took a step back in 2020, but I think is ready to take another minor step forward in 2021. They should be a lot better than what we saw. When you look at the defense, 5 starters are back on that side of the ball. Believe it or not, a team that went 4-7 last year had the number 1 passing defense in the ACC in 2020. They allowed just 189.7 passing yards per game. So that's unreal, and that's encouraging. Even though the Cardinals do lose 3 starters in the secondary, Scott Satterfield, we mentioned on a few previous video, utilized the transfer portal, went out and got Kendrick Duncan, a first-team Sunbelt selection from Georgia Southern, to come in and plug a hole at safety to try to continue to boost this secondary and have them as one of the better ones in the conference. So when we say all of that, Louisville really just needs to focus more on their rushing defense that allowed over 179 rushing yards per game last year. They improved that, and this defense that even only returns just 5 should be just fine. Not necessarily elite in the nation, but just fine to get them to the postseason. We take a look at Louisville's schedule, guys, and look, when you look at the Cardinals this year, you're going to get a good idea of what this team is made of, what the offense is made of, what the defense is made of within the first 3 weeks, because they play Ole Miss and UCF. Both those teams have the potential and most likely will be some of the most electric offenses in the country. So it will be a matter of can Louisville stop them, and does Louisville have the offense to keep up with them? That's what you're going to see in the first 3 weeks. We start with Ole Miss in Atlanta, a Monday night Labor Day matchup against Lane Kiffin and the Rebels. And again, this is really going to test that passing defense because Ole Miss had the 7th ranked passing offense in the country last year, 344.9 passing yards per game. They returned their quarterback and Matt Corral, who might be one of the better quarterbacks in the country. To me, continued to get better as the year went on. I look at this. A game that I believe will be back and forth, very high scoring, mostly because Ole Miss had a horrible defense last year, ranked 126 in the country last year. But the defense for the Rebels, I do believe, improves more so than Louisville. 7 return on that side of the ball for Ole Miss. Expectations are very high for the Rebels in Lane Kiffin. They might be a nationally ranked team to start 2021. And in Atlanta, I believe the Rebels get a win over Scott Satterfield's Cardinals, and Louisville begins 0-1. We believe they take relatively easy care of Eastern Kentucky, even it out 1-1, and then get a Friday night matchup against UCF at home. And this is a game that's going to be very similar, I think, to the Ole Miss game. High scoring, back and forth, 2 solid offenses, 2 mediocre middle-of-the-pack defenses. UCF obviously going through a coaching change themselves. Gus Malzahn coming in now, but he inherits one of the best quarterbacks in the country again in Dylan Gabriel, who decided to stick around with the Knights. But the problem for UCF is, like Ole Miss, their defense. Only 3 starters back after allowing over 33 points per game and 491.8 yards per game last year. Good for 123rd in the country. This early on in the year, I'm not banking on UCF's defense to be solely up to par. They have an intriguing opening week matchup against Boise State. They're going to be tested, just like Louisville will be tested. But the Cardinals get this game at home. I believe the Cardinals secondary just enough to slow down Dylan Gabriel in this passing attack, and I'm calling an upset. I'm calling an upset, and I think Louisville takes down UCF. Many will disagree with that. But I'm going to call an upset and say that Scott Satterfield gets the job done. And while it's against a group of 5 team, it's a signature victory. It absolutely is a signature victory over a team that could be ranked in the top 25 come week 3. So 2-1 for the Cardinals heading into the final week of September. They travel to Florida State, a team they beat by 32 last year, 48-16. And you can't help but wonder, is Florida State going to be any better in 2021? They have a quarterback battle going right now between Jordan Travis and Mackenzie Milton. 9 starters return offensively, only 5 on defense. And that's the kicker, guys. Out of the 3 biggest games that we see, or the 3 of the first 4 games for Louisville, we see most of these guys are going to have good offenses. Ole Miss, UCF, Florida State, each one of them has mediocre or subpar defenses. That's an opportunity for Louisville to get in there, to take advantage of it if their offense can rise to the occasion. Because none of those defenses really scare me too much if I'm Louisville. But the game is in Tallahassee when they face off against Florida State. We talk about how big this year is going to be. Normal circumstances, finally, sold-out crowds, hopefully. Florida State needs every single win they can get. They're just trying to get a winning record. They're just trying to get back to the postseason just like the Cardinals. And it's a game that could be crucial for both in terms of their postseason hopes. But with home field advantage, we're going to give the edge to Florida State, even though they fell by 32 last year. We believe this will be a little bit of a different team than we saw in 2020. So Louisville drops the game against the Seminoles. They then travel to Wake Forest. You always hate to see back-to-back road games, especially in conference play. But they travel to Wake Forest, a team that, again, like Ole Miss, like UCF, like Florida State, is going to have a very electric offense. Wake Forest returns just about everybody from last season. And while Louisville beat the Demon Deacons last year in that season finale, surprised everybody by beating Wake Forest by 24, 45-21, I think a lot has changed within 1 year. And Wake Forest is actually in a better spot than the Cardinals going into 2021. Sam Hartman is back. Jakari Roberson is back as one of the best wide receivers, not just in the conference, but in the nation. The Demon Deacons get this game at home in Winston-Salem, and I believe that Dave Clawson's squad gets the job done. Again, 2 solid offenses here, but Wake Forest absolutely right now owns the defensive edge, and I would dare say that Wake Forest owns the offensive edge in this game as well. So right there, guys, Louisville is 2-3. They started 1-4 last year, 2-3. People are going to be calling for Scott Satterfield's head. They're going to want him gone. They're going to want him gone, which is why this game on October 9th almost feels like a must-win. Right before the bye week, you can't help but wonder, can Louisville get this one win, go into the bye week at 500, things are kind of calm, and see if we can have a solid back half of the season to get to the postseason. When they play Virginia, we believe they get that win. We believe they get that win over the Cavaliers for that reason. The pressure is going to be on. It's at home, the first home game since September 17th when they beat UCF. We believe they're going to take down the Cavaliers, namely because I look at Virginia and their front 7 seems a little sketchy to me. You know, Bronco Mendenhall usually has a very solid defense with his squad, but that front 7 right now is a little sketchy, which is a game where I believe maybe Hassan Hall and Louisville's rushing attack can maybe open the door and create some opportunities for Micale Cunningham, and this offense can maybe come to life for Louisville in this game. They fell to Virginia 31-17 last year. I could see an inverse score, 31-17 maybe in favor of the Cardinals now on October 9th. They even up their record 3-3 going into the bye, a much-needed win going into the bye. They get that week of rest, get another home game against Boston College. We're going to give them a win against Boston College here, and here's why. Last year, as bad as Louisville was, they only fell to the Eagles 34-27. And I can expect this game to be relatively close yet again. As bad as Louisville was, they took down a solid BC team, a team that went 6-5. They only fell to them by 7. Well, now they're getting a week of rest. They're getting them at home. And Boston College right now offensively is one-dimensional. Their offense relies solely on the pass with Phil Jurkovec and Zay Flowers. When you look at BC's rushing attack, one that barely averaged 100 rushing yards per game, one that ranked 118th in the country last year, if I'm Louisville's defense, I say we stop the pass, we're good. We focus solely on the pass, we're good. Scott Satterfield's going to have a week of rest to prepare for this game. It is at home. Louisville wins it, 4-3. They then travel to NC State, and this is where the stretch gets key for them. They have 4 wins now. They need 2 wins. 2 wins in their final 5 games. Well, the first one's not going to come against NC State. First off, it's on the road. Second off, NC State, many are saying this is Dave Derwin's best squad he's ever had during his time with the Wolfpack. They're saying it's his best squad ever. 17 starters are back. They're very deep. They've got tons of depth. Their offense is great. They've got a great rushing attack with Bam Knight, Ricky Person Jr. Devin Leary is back from his injury, back from that broken leg. He was having a heck of a season before he went down with an injury. And the defense should continue to get better and better under Tony Gibson. I think this NC State team has the potential to win anywhere from 7 to 9 games in 2021. It's at home for the Wolfpack. I just don't see Louisville having enough to go on the road and win this game. And the same goes for the home game against Clemson. We don't have to talk much on that because we know that maybe nobody will be able to beat Clemson this year, at least in the regular season, with the exception of maybe Georgia. No one in the ACC, especially the ACC Atlantic, seems to have the talent and the depth to defeat the Tigers, who have one of the best quarterbacks in the country in DJ Uiagalelei and 10 returning starters on defense with the best defensive coordinator in all the land. Louisville drops the game against Clemson. They've now lost 2 games in a row. They have 3 games left. They've got to win 2 of them to go bowling. But if you look at the schedule, what do you see? You see that Louisville has back-to-back games against arguably the 2 worst teams in the ACC. Back-to-back games against arguably the 2 worst teams in the ACC in Syracuse and Duke. And last year, again, keep in mind how inconsistent and sometimes bad Louisville was. They beat Syracuse 30-0. They beat Syracuse 30-0. They get the game at home. They win that game. No doubt about it. Both teams were very bad last year. Louisville is going to improve this year. Syracuse is going to remain bad. So they beat Syracuse. They need one more win. That win comes at Duke. Duke is a team that's going through so many changes right now, has so many questions that they have yet to answer. Even though the game is on the road, this is a team to me that's very similar to Syracuse. Might even be in a worse position than Syracuse. At least the Orange have a lot of returning talent. 19 returning starters for Dino Babers and his squad. David Cutcliffe pretty much left high and dry with the Blue Devils. So Louisville clinches bowl eligibility at Duke. They are 6-5. They conclude their season against Kentucky, and we have them dropping the game to the Wildcats. And I know, you always hate to hear someone say you're going to lose to your rival, right? I hate it myself. But look at the numbers, guys. Kentucky has won 3 of the last 4 games against the Cardinals, right? 3 of the last 4 games. They've won the last 2 games by a score of 121-23. 121-23. That's the combined score for Kentucky over Louisville. The Wildcats now are going to have a very deep and talented defense, especially in the secondary. Will Levis is back, or comes in now at quarterback, a transfer quarterback from Penn State. That was obviously a need that Mark Stoops needed down in Lexington. Even though the game is at home for Louisville, Kentucky, from top to bottom, is going to be bigger, faster, stronger than the Cardinals. They've owned this series the last few years under Mark Stoops. I expect that to remain the same in 2021, as I believe the Cardinals do improve. They're just not there yet. And with that loss, guys, Louisville will conclude the year at 6-6. And while many may see that as a disappointment, I do not. You went 4-7 in 2020. You're going bowling now. That'd be 2 bowl games in 3 years under Scott Satterfield. And yes, while you want to get to that 8-9 win mark consistently, while you want to start contending, you can get there. But this was the step necessary to get to that point. The Cardinals go 6-6 from us here at the Gridiron Expert, and to me, that's an absolute win. So guys, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Hit that notification button as well so you don't miss out on any of the remaining predictions that we have coming your way this season. And also, make sure to check out everything down in the description below. And go over to our website, thegridironexpert.com, and sign up for those expert picks. Again, some of the best spread picks, both college and NFL, in the entire country for some of the lowest prices in the entire country. So go check it out for yourself. I promise you will not regret it. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.